Alright guys, so I slapped this thing back together. But we do need to pull it apart. I need to get the pot stand off of the tank. Then to do that, the valve assembly has to come out. So that's where we're at. So we're gonna get this thing back apart. Oh, I didn't even have that tight. I couldn't remember if I tightened that down or not. Okay. So we gotta spin this whole valve assembly out. You remember last time we had to use heat to get it out. Now after that experience, it comes out pretty good. So that is a plus. Okay. Now we gotta think about this a little bit here. So we have to get. Okay, so there's this nut down here holding the pot stand to the tank. So we have to loosen that guy. Okay. So now that's loose. So now, somehow we got to get this, the valve assembly, to spin from the tank. And I'm not 100% sure how we're going to accomplish that. I got an idea though. I got an idea. So as you guys recall, we had to fight to get that on-off valve off of here. She was tight. So now we got that off. Now let's see if we can move. My thought is by having this on here, we put this thing on here for some leverage. There we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, I see what I gotta do though. So this tube here, that was to hold parts and pieces for rebuilding on the field if a soldier had to do that. So get that out of our way. And there are some parts and pieces in there, so we want to be careful not to lose anything there. Okay, now let's get back to this. I'm not the brightest tool in the shed, am I? How do I get that? Okay. Alright, alright. So I'm gonna take this off. I might have to take out the pump, which that's not a big deal. So to remove the pump, what I have to do is spin this, and then the pump comes right out. You can see that I have lubed that up. It actually looks like it could use a little bit more lube. She looks like she's drying up. So we'll give her another bath in the 3-in-1 oil. Okay. And we're going to take the gas cap off as well. Okay. Now we can we're going to get a look at the inside of this tank, a good look. I mean, we've already cleaned quite a bit of rust out of there, but we haven't had a proper clean. Ooh, this is dirty. This is dirty, friends. Okay. This gas lid chain up out of the way, so you can get this nut off the bottom. See, we're working on this nut right here. Oh, you can see she's rusty on here, guys. She is rusty, rusty, rusty. So that's our generator. So we'll have to do some cleaning on that. Not a big deal. Did I have that out of frame? I'm sorry if I did. Not 100% sure. I don't want to. I can see. It's gonna take me a second to look at this and get it all figured out. But anyways, it's apart. That's a plus. Now, I am not seeing in there super well. Not as well as I'd hoped. I'm gonna have to get a little flashlight so I can see inside here. But I am going to pick up some evaporust from one of the hardware stores in town, and I'm going to fill this tank up with evaporust, and that should clean up all the rust inside the tank, and I'll pick that up tomorrow now that we got the tank apart. But yeah, I can't see inside there to see how bad that is, but now that we have this apart, we can get to the next step, and that's going to be taking this apart and cleaning up inside there, making sure that's all good. I've already had this top part off, and that's all clean from here to here. We know we get air, was we pump this up so we get air through here, so we know that too. So there you go. All right, guys. Yeah, I'll come right back to you in a second here. Okay. So that moves a little bit right there, but it does not move at all right there. I don't know why. I mean, that should. Oh, there it goes, there it goes. Okay, now. Okay. So now this comes out of here like that. We have this little tiny spring on here. Yeah, the parts are fairly dirty here. So we're gonna hit them with some cleaner and some air and see if we can get these cleaned up a little bit. So let's start with some brake clean. Or it went right through, so that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Oh yeah, she's clean in there. She is clean in there. Okay. We can put a little bit cleaner in here. That was a nice controlled spray. I'm gonna be careful not to bend this rod. Okay, so there's that. This little spring right here, all we need to do is give it a little bit of life. We're gonna pull it back a little bit. Let's put some. Yeah, that thing was actually pretty clean. Nothing really came off that, but basically to bring some memory back, we just want to give that a little stretch. Not much, just a little. Okay, so that's that little piece squared away. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take and spray in here. Try to get out any gunk and goo. Take some oxygen, compress air. There we go. And that's really all there is to that. And I'm gonna go this way as well. Yeah, nothing's coming out. It's when it's dripping on this cloth here, it's clean, so we'll accept that. Okay. So that's that. Now this here, same thing, let's get some carb cleaner on there. Or brake clean, I think is what I actually got there. I don't think it's carb. A little nasty. Come over this side. That's clean. Wipe everything off. All right. So that's all there is to that. Now, the spring goes on there. That goes like that. That screws in there like that. Just a little bit of a snug. So that's all there is to that. Now I'm gonna spray this outside, or the inside, but I'm gonna put a little bit of cleaner on here, on the outside. I've had a lot of oil on this thing over the last couple weeks, and so let's try to clean this up the best we can. Okay, so then that will go back in here. That just screws on. I don't want to do that right now though, but so that'll go in here. This tightens it down here, compresses the graphite, and that's all there is to that. And we know earlier we've already had this spinning and working, and we've cleaned this tube several times, so we're good there. So that's what the valve assembly outside the tank looks like. So another big thing, like I say, tomorrow we will go ahead. I cannot see in there at all to see what it looks like inside there, but everything was pretty rusty, so I'm assuming it's, you know, fairly rusty in there. And I did do some tank cleaning earlier in the process, and we got a lot of gunk on there. It was actually cleaner than I thought, to be perfectly honest, but I think if I take some Evaporust, that'll completely clean the inside the tank. I won't have any questions or concerns, and we'll be good to go. So there we go. Pretty excited, guys, pretty excited. So, all right, we'll get back to you at another time. I just wanted to show you why we needed to get this out. We had to get that out to, oh no, I can't get that apart. There we go. We had to get this on-off valve out so we could spin the valve assembly within the body of the pot stand. And now that we got it all apart, we're able to do what we need to do to get things clean. So, all right, guys, we will let you go, and we'll check in with you later. All right, guys, so I took a camera and I looked inside this tank, and I am not going to run no Evaporust in there. It's actually in really good shape, a lot better shape than I thought it was. going to be in. There's just some small surface rust areas, but nothing big. So we're not gonna. I think it'll do more damage than good to run the evaporust in there. I'll probably just run a few more tanks of white gas and shake it up and filter it out and just do that until it comes out clean, because I'm like really surprised how how clean this tank is. It's in good shape actually inside there. For how rusty everything else was, I was expecting it to be a complete disaster, and it's not. It really isn't. So for what looked like a total nightmare when I first unboxed this thing, and all the work it took to get these valves working, it's starting to give a little bit of a gift here by not being so bad on the inside. So I still don't have a clue what year this thing is. I'm thinking it's a 1943, based on some of the research my wife and I did on this one. But because it has a smaller fuel opening, and it has 3 legs, those two things combined give us the indication that it's probably a 1943. And I'm thinking maybe somebody may have painted this another time, or had restored this one other time or something, and that's why I can't, because there should be markings on the tank, and I'm probably going to strip it down myself as well. So maybe when I strip it down, we'll be to see what's there. Or maybe if somebody had restored it before, they when they sanded it down, they just scratched all the markings out of it. I don't know. So I'm really hoping the markings are there. But regardless, if they're not, this is still a World War II soldier's GI pocket stove, one that would have been used out in the field. So World War II era, and we're getting this thing working. So anyways, I just want to give an update on what I've seen on that tank. The tank is in really good shape. I was not expecting that at all. So yeah, anyways guys, I will I'll check back with you guys after a while, but yeah, things are looking pretty good here. All right guys, so here's what we're gonna do. We got this here. I took it out. The funnel, we're gonna take the funnel, put some white gas inside of here. The coffee filters, so what I'm gonna be doing is I'll be setting the coffee filter inside of here. And what that's going to do is, as I empty out the tank, it'll catch any of the debris, so that I can keep using the same gas over and over, so I don't have to just be wasting a whole bunch of gas during this process. So anyways, I will bring you back in just a second here. All right, I just poured some white gas in there. I tried to put it on film, but trying not to spill, and just wanted to pay attention to what I was doing. So now basically all we're gonna do is plug this hole in this hole, and we're going to shake the daylights out of this thing. And try to get as much debris out of here as humanly possible. Now what I was surprised by was the little bit of material that I was seeing in there when I was able to get a light down there and look. It was surprisingly, I mean, there's obviously some stuff in there, but it wasn't like big pitted rust like I had anticipated. So let's do this too. That doesn't look like anything's leaking back on the check valve, so that's good. So we're just going to do this a whole bunch of times until pretty much nothing is coming out of the tank. So that is our next step. Well, if you want to see what's going on here, let's go ahead and pour some out. And I showed you before that I had actually was doing this before I had the valve assembly out. We may not have to do this a bunch of times, guys. Like I said, the tank looked fairly clean. When I okay. Let's see how this looked. I don't know if you can see that or not. Just a very, 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 very tiny bit of debris right there. Can you see that? This tank, what a little Christmas gift for how dirty and how nasty this valve assembly was. I totally was expecting this tank to be a disaster. Like I said, when I actually was able to get a light in there, it did not look bad. And to get just that tiny little debris out right there, we are in fantastic shape. Fantastic shape. Look at this. Just a little tiny bit of debris. So I'm going to do that 1 or 2 more times. Just make sure nothing else comes out. But that is the process right there. We'll take this fluid that we just used, that we just filtered, and we'll put it back in there. And then we're going to just shake the daylights out of it again. So anyways, you guys see how that process goes. You see we got pretty clean. I'm not going to do this a bunch more times, so I'm not going to bring you back until we reassemble. All right, we'll talk to you after a while. All right, guys. So we are ready to start the reassembly process here. So our lid, our gas cap, that goes on like that. We take this nut here, and this nut holds the pot stand to the tank. So we'll go like that. Now, we're going to come up and through. Okay. Oh, we gotta move that. Okay. Let's spin this thing down so it's not hitting that. So, pretty simple process here so far. No, my 9/16 wrench. I'll have to be able to start torquing on this here in a second. Now, what I gotta try to remember is the knob, I believe, has to finish here. Okay, so yeah, that would have to be right, right? The gas lead goes here. I don't think we can get a full spin out of that at this point. And that would make sense right there. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll be leak testing it later. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten this. We're gonna tighten this nut up down here. Maybe, there we go. Oh boy, not be losing things, John. Okay. Okay. Well, let's take a look at this pump. I added some more 3-in-1 oil to the pump as well. Leather. It was looking, I mean, I had added some before, but it was looking a little dry, so I thought I would add a little bit more. Okay. Now what I'm not happy about, see this is supposed to be over here. So I'm gonna have to spin this. Dog on it. That's all part of the process, so you gotta, sometimes things don't just go together just the way you had them, because you forget how you had them. So now we gotta pull this completely apart again. So you can have this in the right place. Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be opposite of there. Okay, now that we know. Oh my goodness. So when you get in these projects, sometimes you make little mistakes. It's all part of learning. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize my camera had turned off for a second there. So we have this pot stand spun in the correct spot now. I went and reinserted my pump. So now we just gotta get the valve, the on-off valve, replaced. So that's gonna go in here, like so. And we'll take this guy here. So all you do is spin her back in. Okay, once it stops, there she stopped. Now we'll take this pressure nut here. Oh, I gotta finish tightening this down. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm getting ahead of myself, guys. Are you surprised? I'll bet you're not. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I do that. So we gotta tighten this pot stand down. Oh, come on. Okay. Alright, that's tightened down. Now we'll go back to this. Okay, now you gotta make sure this pressure nut's tight, but I'm not gonna over crank it right now. I think I was tighten up more later if you leak. Okay, that's good. Now Put our knob back on. We'll screw in. Okay, now we'll put this on here. And the reason we're going to do that is we're going to give this a quick, we're going to give this thing a test burn. Because why not? We've got everything cleaned out, right? So let's give it a test burn. We'll use the fuel that we had been using for cleaning because it's clean. And we're not going to put much in here either because we don't need to, we're just doing a test burn. So we'll just put a little bit in there. Oh, sorry guys, knocked the stand here. Okay, give me a second, I gotta grab my lighter. All right, we got our lighter on hand. So let's pump the daylights out of this thing. For all intents and purposes, she should fire up. Because we've got everything cleaned out. Let's see what happens here. Oh, here we go, guys. She is. We got a freaking squirt in here. Oh. See, I turn that. Oh, I should turn that hard now. Damn it. You see this book open all the way. Goes all the way. Okay. Well, apparently I had this. Not too tight. All right. What do you think, guys? This thing is burning. Holy cow. So there it is. We bought it. This valve here, the cleaning that valve, completely froze up. 12 hours of work to get that working. The on-off valve completely froze up. You see what we had to do to make that work. Tear it down and get that working. So now we needed that. Then we were able to get the whole valve assembly out. We were able to get that out. Get everything cleaned up. Reassemble everything. And now she's burning. It works. What do you guys think of that? I am super stoked. There's still a lot of work I want to do to this thing. Obviously, we got to get this paint or the canister cleaned up. I want to strip the paint down and repaint it. I want to find out what year this is because there should be markings underneath this paint. I'd like to refurbish this whole top section, make it look good again. So there it is, guys. The Coleman 520 GI stove from World War II. Did not work at all when I got it. And now it is working. It is burning. Man, oh man, oh man. Again, I couldn't be happy. I couldn't be, I just, what a huge, huge success we just had. It is burning nice, isn't it? All right.